of the usefulness of the two AI models that are currently present for us, I would stick with Claude 2 for huge volumes of text where I would want to either infer information or summarize it and present it in a clean, easy to read way. And if I were to need to write code, I would stick with ChatGPT 4.0 or better. In this video, I'm going to show you two specific use cases for how I am using AI to improve my life. In terms of health, I used it to help me prepare a specific meal plan for very specific needs. And in terms of wealth, I used it to help me fill out a budget for a small business association loan. Welcome to my channel. My name is Elsa, and this is AI-Architects, and I am going to show you some of what I have discovered using Claude 2 versus my experience with ChatGPT. Without further delay, let's start the screen share so I can show you what I have been discovering for my specific use case, which has been developing from the ground up a residential assisted living facility. Specifically, it's called pals.dog is the domain name. PALS stands for Pet Friendly Assisted Living for Seniors. And my use case today is going to be to show you what it's been like to develop the business plan. And we're going to put through the business plan Claude 2 to see if it's able to give us any insight that I'm not able to capture. For the record, I'm not able to do this in ChatGPT because I would have to find a way to upload a file. Although I am going to attempt feeding in a CSV. I might be able to turn it into some type of just text or something. Yeah, I should be able to turn it into a text file. Maybe if I feed it in that way, maybe ChatGPT can give us insights in that way, but I have found Claude to be super useful for that use case. Another use case I'm going to show you is the first one we will cover, which is my ability to digest a ton of information. So the bragging point for Claude 2 is that it can ingest a whole bunch of other tokens versus ChatGPT. And I discovered it can upload files, which might have been common knowledge, but until I looked at it, I hadn't thought about it. So without putting too much of my business out there, I was reading Fast Like a Girl by Dr. Pals, which I think is amazing. I did read the book, so I'm not just willy-nilly picking a huge file. I'm picking something that, as is my intention with learning how to adapt to using AI, that is relevant to my own life. So I listened to her podcast, her YouTube videos. I've read her book. I listened to the book. That said, I didn't have a chance to sit and take notes. So the book is supposed to outline specifically my ebb and flow of my natural organism, my ups and downs, and when I'm going to be cranky and when I'm going to be at my best in terms of making decisions, and then when I can optimize us having a child. So I tried to digest the information on my own, and it was a bit overwhelming to me, but I knew that it was in the book because she had covered it and I had heard it. So as you can see here, this is kind of the way the information is laid out. And if we look at the actual PDF, it is about 120 pages. But in the way that it's laid out, I am not easily able to see like this is what you eat on day 1. This is what you eat on day 2. You can expect to be really cranky like halfway through the month or whatnot, right? So that was the crucial piece of information, because as I'm developing for example, this one startup, and I am working on a few of them at a time because AI is really making it so simple for me to be able to manage a huge workload to the point where it's unbelievable. But you can prove to yourself by going back and watching some of my other videos with, for example, my dad's testimony on how I got it to help me lower like family real estate taxes, blah, blah, right? So the point is that I am really impressed with Claude2's ability to take this kind of information that is incredibly difficult to digest and lay out. And like, let's be real, I wasn't going to have the time to sit and abstract notes from here. I am very good at reading, even though I'm dyslexic. I'm probably one of the fastest readers I've ever met. So it's not about being lazy. It's about that I'm at the gym, I'm working out, I listen to the books. That's the point of audiobooks in my mind, is so that I can use my hands and such for other things. So what I wanted was for it to give me more of a calendric view of what I'm supposed to do, since that was not part of the book. And that is fine, because I think that there's so much material here that it's overwhelming as is. So I dumped it into Claude, and I did pay for it, so it's not like I'm ripping anybody off. I did pay for Fast Like a Girl. I dumped it in here. The only thing I noticed about Claude is that it automatically started giving me some kind of synopsis, and that's not what I had intended, but that might be due to my misuse of Claude2. So then I asked it very specifically, can you please help me figure out a calendar of what moods to expect, what to eat for the condition of infertility based on my period cycle? Yeah, that's really like blunt, but that's the question, right? Like, that is the point of being better at being precise about what it is you're looking for. And as a web developer of many years, freelancer, it's the continual problem that I find is like people want help, but they don't exactly know what they want. So it takes a lot of time to handhold through the development process. And so I become really good at being very precise at what I want. So that is why I entered this prompt. So apologies if it's a little bit difficult to stomach this information, but this is relevant to real life, right? So it parses the document beautifully, and it does give me a kind of a layout, as you can see here, of what to expect during what time of a cycle. And then I was able to get it to give me even better output. So ask it, can you be more detailed versus just this bulleted list? So it actually did go back and make it easier for me to read. Again, being dyslexic, I really appreciate the way that it's laying stuff out in a bulleted list that's indented, so my eyes can easily glean this, and I know exactly what to throw on my calendar. I can tell my nephew, on these days, don't ask me questions because I'm be cranky and I'm be moody. So I don't want to make decisions from like the emotional side. Like, if there's anything important, let's plan ahead and like put it on the calendar for these sets of days or whatnot, right? So, yes, my family is like quite open, but not to this, not in a creepy way. Just more like I know myself, and I know that I am in charge of leading something that is building my family's wealth, so intergenerational wealth. So I have to be really mindful about what I'm doing. And this has been so helpful, not just in terms of being able to plan for my health, which is a big benefit of using AI. It's also helping me more systematically target the things that I need to target. So now, that said, I really think Claude2 did an excellent job of summarizing this, and I know that ChatGPT would not have been able to parse this much text, because within the first like 5 pages, it would have been overwhelmed, right? And I could have kept feeding ChatGPT, so that might be an experiment someone can do if they feel like it. For myself, I'm not really trying to pick one over the other. I'm just trying to figure out like which one's got the best UX UI for simplicity, because I am a lazy automator and I don't want to sit here all day copying and pasting a bunch of text. So the fact that it could pick up a file automatically was already, to me, like put it above, like put it way up there. And I think ChatGPT is developing stuff like that, or you can, like implement some kind of code and all this so that it'll do it for you on ChatGPT. But I just don't feel like going through all those steps. Excuse me. Furthermore, the way that this spit back out in intelligible information, exactly what I was looking for, I feel is superb. And my prompt was not even that great. It was like it's still, I'm a prompt engineer, right? Like, it's still a pretty damn good prompt, but there was nothing overly special or overly complicated in what I had to do here to get this to work. My next really big question is, so if we're keeping score, right? And not even score, like if we're creating in our minds, like, what is something I can use Claude2 for? What is something that I should use ChatGPT 4.0 for? So Claude2 to digest like extremely long texts and get an abstracted sense of the information, the very specific information that I want out of it. Like, I give credit to Claude2. If I'm trying to write code, I strongly suggest using ChatGPT 4.0. It's been the least error prone one. I've been writing Flask apps. So right now we have, like, if I'm doing text analysis, I can't even call it analysis. If I'm trying to like just infer, if I'm trying to make inferences from text, Claude 2. If I'm trying to write good code, ChatGPT 4.0 only, the paid one. The 3.5 one is like ridiculous. But this is the real big test for me is now I will show you this spreadsheet that we have to turn into the Small Business Administration Association in El Paso. And I'm going to disable better. And so I get a lot of I guess extra benefits. So I'm definitely going to be going through the SBA, and of course they have their own outline of things that they want from me so that they can fully support me, because they do have to report back to their bosses or whomever, you know, big brothers. I am going to see if I can use this to expedite the amount of time and effort that it's taking us to collect all of these data points, and maybe it can give us some kind of insight that we're missing. So the first things first, I will show you how complicated this Excel sheet has become. It's a Google Excel sheet. I've tried using other AI tools, especially like specifically the Google ones. I had such a hard time. They never worked. It could be I'm not implementing them correctly, but again, I'm a lazy automator. If the UX UI doesn't make it like super easy for me, I'm going to move on and use something like Claude 2 that lets me just like do what I'm used to and click a button and it uploads a file. Because by the time that I spent, I would say about 3 hours trying to find different AI tools that were able to help me work with an Excel sheet, it was such a waste of my time just to try to, what would be the word, to implement and to set it up and to figure out how to get it to work, that it was not worth the effort. So I still think that like the sophistication of these tools right here. So I know you can't see it clearly, but there's a whole, I wonder why it doesn't show the formulas. There's a whole bunch of formulas in the background here. Here, you can see some of these formulas. And I actually used ChatGPT 4.0 to help me edit some of these formulas because they were pretty complicated. It's not just like, give me a number and add them up. It's like a bunch of if-then statements. And like, what if it's left blank? Because it's not just going to be me interacting with this for the moment. So ChatGPT again for code kinds of stuff. I do consider writing Excel sheet formulas code. Why didn't I just create a Python script? Because for whatever reason, I can't figure out where the apps thing is. I think it's called extensions on here. So for me to be able to use some of the Microsoft products, or for me to be able to use some of the like Python driven code or other kinds of code that I could have put into maybe even a VB script for this. So all I could really use was the SQL, I'm sorry, the Excel sheet formulas, which is fine. It's good enough. Like the guy at the SBA, Mando, our advisor, is awesome. And he gave us the first version of this, which basically his version only had this, and this, and this. So, oh, sorry, not that one, but up to here, right? So all of these already have a bunch of connected formulas. So I have to be really careful not to steamroll over those formulas. And so all of those calculations go into here, obviously in red, maybe not obviously, but the reason these are in red is because we need further investigation into some of this. Now what I'm going to do is I've already downloaded it as an Excel sheet, as a CSV sheet. So I'm going to go to Claude. And I am really curious to see if Claude is able to parse that information and give us more information about it. I actually don't see an easy way here to begin like a new chat. Oh, there it is. Start a new chat. Okay, so I'm going to upload the file. And if I go to my documents and I go to pals, first, I'm going to see like, what is it like? Oh, it actually does not take Excel sheets. So I'm really glad that I saved it as a CSV. So that's good to know that it will not be able to read an Excel sheet. I also don't know if this CSV ingested every linked file. I should have checked that, but we will check it in a minute. In fact, we should check that now because I don't know if we're only, yeah, see, so like my CSV doesn't even have all of the different tabs as a CSV, and I don't know how to get it to download all the tabs as a CSV. So I am going to go ask our good old friend, OpenAI. Oops, wrong one. So it's chat. So we are going to ask it, how do I do? I think this should be fine. How can I download a CSV from Google Docs and make sure it includes all sheets? Let's see, it says that a dialog box should appear. So this is yet another way in which I'm like really leveraging AI, because I could have looked it up on Google, but let's see if this really does give us a dialog box. So I think it said download a comma separated values. I think this is what I did prior, and it did not ask me if I wanted to include. Yeah, see, this does not actually ask me if I want to include all the tabs. So I wonder if I asked ChatGPT 4.0 the same question, if it would have better things. This does not tell me either. And since ChatGPT 3.5 wasn't able to give us a good answer for how, oops, I should have just copied the question. Let me copy this question. So let's start a new chat. Let's ask 4.0. Let's see if it gives us any kind of different directions. At the bottom of the document, you'll see tabs for each sheet. Click on the tab for sheet you want. Oh, it makes you do like one at a time. See, like Google App Script, and I'm not able to find Google the Google app thing for whatever reason. I guess I would have to turn this into Python code. Okay, I don't have an extension in my menu bar. And this is the exact same like huge waste of time that I spent earlier, just trying to figure out where that was at. Is it here? I don't think it's here. I guess here you can ask about the data. Maybe this is just like really all of what we can really ask. What category of data is missing? Maybe, like, let's see. Yeah, see, it's not really, no, these were not interesting. This was actually terrible data. So I don't know how to find the app scripts thing. So I guess we cannot yet use anything. See, no extensions here. I've already looked, like, I've already done this, extensions, detail settings. Maybe I don't know. I'm not going to spend time doing that now, but at the end of the day, it looks to me like we're just going to see what Claude can tell us. I don't know what types of interesting stuff it could really give us from here that we can't decide for ourselves. Because for me, the real benefit was going to be in trying to see if we could gain any more insight in this kinds of stuff, like more in the weeds details about opening an assisted living facility. So in conclusion, Claude2 is really good with completely with huge amounts of data. It does summarize it really well. I could write a Python script to extract all of the sheets, all of the data on the sheets on here, but it's not worth it to me at this point. And ChatGPT continues to be better for writing code. And I will continue to find other use cases for how I am partnering with AI to simplify my life and basically skyrocket my wealth building during this oncoming recession and during this big shift in the way that we look at employment and jobs and providing valuable goods and services to others. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please subscribe. Please hit the like button if you feel like it. And I hope that you are also coming up with your own use cases and diving into using any of these generative AI products so you can start to see the benefit and get used to the way things are changing. Have a good day.